Do you have interest in Joshi, specifically stardom, and you've asked yourself, where do I start? How do I learn? Well, good news for you. The Count Out Podcast Network has a podcast dedicated to the history of World Wonder Ring stardom that can help you learn, watch, and enjoy. This is the Stardom Road podcast, hosted by Trent Brewer and myself, Scott Evans. Every other week, we dive into the history of wrestling's biggest women's promotion today. We have you covered.
Stardom Road is the perfect podcast for new fans looking to learn all about the deep history of the wrestlers, events, and championships they're seeing for the very first time, or for those who've been there from the very beginning, simply looking to remember the good old days. So join us for multi-episode deep dives into the history of key figureheads like Arisa Hoshiki, and smaller discussions on key role players like Chris Wolf. Find out about the lineage of championships like the High Speed Belt, or how the various tournaments have changed over the years. And of course, spend time with us discussing important topics like how to costume change battle royals with the very peak of the company.
You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us on the Stardom Road.
You're listening to a Count Out Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Jumping Knee Pod, a modern-day All Japan podcast. I'm your host, Jessica, and today my guest is the wonderful Simone.
Hello, hi. Thank you for having me, Jessica. Nice to be with you with this very eventful tour. A couple of shows, but it's a tour.
It was a big month. There was a lot of
yes,
a lot of things happening, and I'm very happy to have the Saito Brothers #1 fan since day one. This guy's been there since day one.
Yes, I've been representing from day zero, not even one, even before they debuted, from the tryout.
Yes, I remember all the way back then. And look where we are now, huh? Crazy.
Yeah. Incredible.
Well, let's not waste any more time. So we're going to start off with day one.
Yes.
It was the first show and it was a new Chronicle Z show. So if you're unfamiliar, these are produced by Rising Haito and every wrestler on the card has less than 10 years experience. So if you're old, like a Kento or Suwama, too bad. You can't be on these shows.
It was an eventful one because we had people leaving the format.
Yeah, it was really sad. But
yes,
we'll talk about it in a second.
Yes.
So Dan Tamura defeated Ryu Inoue in 12 minutes and 35 seconds. Hokuto Omori defeated Jack Kennedy in 9 minutes and 38 seconds. Rei Saito defeated Jun Saito and Seigo Tachibana in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. Yuma Anzai, Rena Yabe, Ruki Honda, and Rising Haito defeated Yuma Aoyagi, Shotaro Ishino, Fuminori Abe, and Kuma Arashi in 17 minutes and 38 seconds. And in the main event, it was a battle royale with everybody from the show competing, which was won by Seigo Tachibana in 12 minutes and 20 seconds. Simone, take it off. What do you want to talk about from this show?
Yeah, it was an interesting show to be sure. I think my favorite match of the night was, weirdly, I don't know, Inoue versus Dan. I think it was a very nice idea to start off with this match because we have the two clearest example. I mean, there are a couple of others which we'll talk about, I think, later, which are Okuto and Ayato. But the changes that Dan has brought upon himself are incredible because we had, up until a few months ago, I don't remember exactly when he changed his persona, but we had this goofy character which was all smiles and goofiness. And instead, we now have this dark, brooding menace, which is different from under every aspect, because even from his hairdo, he looks like a very menacing character. He changes a bit his style, because nowadays he remembers a little bit more of Takaiwa, which was one of the biggest inspirations for a kind of junior of the 2000s, so it makes sense. And in a way, it's following on his tracks, because I think we also had this kind of goofy character, which was whole happiness and smiles, and now he's an arrogant asshole, and is adapting very well to his new character, and is very good at eating, which is important if you're a kick boy. And I think we might be witnessing the beginning of something good with this guy. I really like what I saw from him in this past couple of months and a half.
I love this new Inoue. He just seems like such an asshole. Like, just his looks, his mannerism, the hair in front of his eyes. It's like he can't see, but he's still going to kick you in the face.
Yes.
And Dan, yeah, I think it feels like since he stopped bleaching his hair, he became more and more ruthless, and like the smile's gone, the mustache is here now.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
remember
he
when
just
he
needed a
had that
darker look.
tomahawk.
The
Yes.
red mohawk, yeah.
Yeah, he looked very goofy at the time.
Oh, he was young. He was finding his
Yeah.
look.
He was finding himself. He was trying to figure himself out, I believe.
I want to talk about the Battle Royale. I know people
Yes.
don't like this type of matches, but I love it. And I had a smile on my face the whole time. Tachibana had to be brought to the ring by Yuma and Abe, I think. Like, he couldn't move after facing the Saito brothers. He was lying in the corner like 90% of the match. It would have been fun if he just lied there the whole time and won without even doing anything. But this match was just, if you're expecting something serious, stop. It was just all fun. Honda betraying Anzai. He'd do his stupid dance, the referee showing off his, gymnastic skills, jumping over the ropes and stuff. It was just very fun. And what you expect from these shows. These shows are just a whole lot of fun. Don't expect serious stuff. Yuma, Ray, and Honda all have matches with Anzai coming up for the Triple Crown. The tension between those three was not there. It's like, it's in a different universe. This is just all fun universe. The Triple Crown universe is something different. So it was just a whole bunch of fun, and I loved it.
Yes, it was like it was from another continuity. And this is what I like about these kinds of show, because of course they are produced by someone else. In this case, we know is Ayato, and it makes sense. It is outside of the stories that are told at the moment. So we have weird matchups. We can have, for example, I think we had Jack Kennedy facing Gokuto, who are from the same unit, but it is still I think the only thing of the whole card that had anything to do with what we're seeing in the rest of the storylines. I think it's good. It's nice to have a change of pace, especially when we have such momentous tours with 1,000 defenses, which is something I would like to talk about later when there are double matches. So it's nice to have something lighter. And when it comes to this kind of battle royals, they are very fun. They have always been this way. All Japan in particular, but Japan in general, don't have this tradition of having these huge Royal Rumbles like American promotions. It's different. They are silly. They do those chain moves with like 10 wrestlers doing each other this liberal, the headlock. These are the kind of spots that are typical of this type of matches in Japan. So I think it's fine. If someone goes in this kind of match expecting something else, they will not find what they like about Japanese wrestling if they don't like silliness. Because I think people have this kind of distorted image of Japanese wrestling, and All Japan in particular. I don't want to fault them, but a lot of people believe All Japan is this promotion that had the big matches in the 90s. People have this 10-year span of All Japan, and they believe those matches represent what All Japan was. And it's not the case. All Japan always had this big side of silliness. And this type of matches are here to remind us of that, because it is part of their legacy. And also, seeing these young kids having fun, it is always fun. For example, we talked about very briefly about the triple threat match between the Saitos and Seigo. That was another fun match. Although Seigo got beat up mercilessly, it was still a very, very silly match. It was not we didn't have the Saitos as the big tag champions. We have two big guys beating up a small guy. It's fun. It's what it should be, I think.
No, you're 100% correct. And yeah, it was very well said. If you expect old style 90s, 2000s or Japan, I'm sorry, but we have this now. And it's great. It really is still good wrestling, but you can see the fun side. And these wrestlers, you can tell they're just loving it and having so much fun.
And about the graduation, how do you feel about this people leaving these shows?
Yeah,
it's bittersweet,
Yuma,
right?
Ashino, Kuma Arashi, and Fumino Abe, they left. Rising Hayato gave them all certificates. They graduated. They're not going to be on the shows anymore. I was kind of sad because I'm just like, is the goofiness going to disappear? But then I'm like, of course not. We have Honda. He's like the goofiest of them all.
Yeah, I'm sad we will not be seeing Yuma anymore in these kinds of shows because he's the funniest guy around, I think. But Honda is, as I always say on Twitter, is perfect hair. It is just Yumaism in human form. And also we had a very touching moment because storyline-wise, they are always sworn enemies. Yuma seems to hate Honda's guts. Every time they face each other, Yuma seems to want to kill Honda, even though I'm sure Honda is his favorite disciple because they are just too similar. Of all the guys that spend time in the dojo, Honda is like the one who is perfectly similar to the way Yuma works his characters and even the way he bumps or sells. They are very, very similar. I think Yuma's influence on Honda is great. So to see they hug each other up at the end of the show
They're
was
crying,
very weird.
hugging each other.
Very weird, very fun.
It was great. They had a song, everyone was standing in line singing. Then Honda threw Yuma out of the ring, tore up his certificate. Yuma was like a little kid throwing a tantrum, doing that silent cry that kids do sometimes, so you know the scream's going to come out in a second. But it was great. It was a good sign-off, and it wouldn't have been better if everything went perfect and they just walked to the back. Something had to happen, and Honda did it. Honda gave it to us.
Yes, what a hero.
So day 2 now, and this was a bit of a weird show. It was very stacked, probably to compete with Noah and Marigold, who had their big shows on the same day and same time. It was very strange to have a big All Japan show in this venue and also with no commentary at all. It didn't feel special enough, and we'll get to the reason why in a second. I'll just run down the card first. So Hikaru Sato and Hideki Suzuki defeated Dan Tamura and Ryu Inoue in 8 minutes and 32 seconds. Super Delphine and Super W defeated Flying Penguin and Hirokata Nissan in 7 minutes and 21 seconds. Hokuto Omare, Cyrus, Jack Kennedy, and Kuma Arashi defeated Kurusho Tokyo Japan, Musashi, Seigo Tachibana, and Seki Yoshioka in 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Ricky Honda and Rene Yabe defeated Shotaro Shino and Bodyguard in 11 minutes and 40 seconds. We had a junior heavyweight title match, Naruki Doi defeating Rising Hayato in 15 minutes and 1 second. In the World Tag Team title match, Jun Saito and Rei Saito defeated Kento Miyahara and Yuma Oyagi in 19 minutes and 3 seconds. And in the main event, the Triple Crown Championship match, Yuma Anzai defeated Suwama in 21 minutes and 34 seconds. So I'm just going to kick off with the junior title match. I adore this. I thought it was so much fun. The whole match was great, but especially the last 10 minutes, these two went all out. I really fell for some of the near falls. It was kind of edge of the seat stuff, especially for me. I thought Hayato selling the leg did a pretty good job. I didn't think it was perfect, but I still think it was good. The crowd was into this, and it was actually fairly split. I thought there were going to be more Hayato fans, but no, split down the middle. Doi didn't play to the crowd like he usually does. I was kind of surprised with that. I'm like, Doi, where is this from you? Like, I need you yelling at the crowd. I need booing from you, but no, it wasn't here. These two work really well together. I thought They are a great pairing. I thought Hayato losing this match would be the start of the younger generation losing, like the first domino to fall. We'll get to that in a second. Well, obviously, because I ran out the card, obviously it wasn't. But I thought it was good. I thought Doi winning was unexpected. But I like Doi with the belt. I'm really happy that he's junior champion, and he has defeated the top two junior talent All Japan has, Asuki and Hayato now. So that's a big win for him.
Yeah, it was a very serious Doi that we witnessed in this match, which is kind of unexpected because, as you rightfully said, he is kind of this weird, goofy guy. I mean, he is of course a serious competitor because he has his career to speak for him. But he likes to be weird. He likes to be goofy, and I was kind of expecting, but instead he played pretty straight. I mean, and it was a very great match. I think in all Hayato's reign, this was my favorite match. I also like that Hayato didn't forget to sell the leg, which is something that, I mean, it's not exactly his forte. It's not the thing he does best to sell. But he did fairly well. He didn't sacrifice too much on his offense, which is completely reliant of his athleticism. And it was a nice split of the two aspects of the thing. And I'm also happy to see Doi win belt for two reasons. One, we're getting more belts for the Saidos family, and as we know. And also, Doi, I mean, not like he's old, but he's older. If we compare him with the rest of the All Japan upstarts that are very strong at the moment, but he can very much still go with the best of them. And I'm very happy because he is very charismatic. He's good, and he has a strong following. So it is something that All Japan can gain from. And it was kind of weird that this huge card was played in a smaller venue, because I think there were about 1,000 people, which is not bad by any means, but it is not this kind of card. You could have put it in a different venue. For example, 2,000 people place. I think you could have played there very safely. But also, as you said, there was no commentary, which is also weird. But I think the reasons we will talk about later, because this was something that we saw a lot in this tour and in the next one, because they are playing a lot of big shows with a ton of big matches. And so they decided to play this big card in a smaller venue. And as weird as it seemed, it makes sense with the rest of the tour, of what is coming.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do think maybe a little bit, or Japan was playing it safe because Noah and Marigo, like I said, they were on the same day and they had big international WE superstars come in. So I thought they might think, okay, maybe a smaller venue for this. I don't know if they wanted a Triple Crown match on this day, or they wanted to say, okay, please watch All Japan. We have this huge match. And I think that's one of the reasons I should have left this for later, but I think this is one of the reasons why we're getting so many Triple Crown matches so soon, is to be like, watch All Japan, because we have all these big matches coming up. But yes, we'll get more into that later. We first got to talk about the Saito brothers and business tag, Kento and Yuma. I think putting Kento and Yuma into any tag team match, you're just going to get something fantastic. It doesn't matter who they go against. And of course, the Sato brothers just work so well with them. We saw it with Kento and Jun in the Champion final. So we already know two of them work well together, but they all rocked. Sato's are your boys, Kento and Yuma are my boys. It was like us against each other, but no, it was so much fun. It was just a classic. I keep wanting to say next stream. It's a classic business tag match where Yuma works the second half and he just dominates and he looks so good. And Kento and was it Ray who was outside, and June was
I
in
seem
the
to
second half.
remember.
I think it was
Yes,
that. Yeah, and
yes.
Kento and Ray would make an appearance every now and then, but Yuma and June just rocked it. It was just so good. The Satos are just having so much fun. They're like on the run of their career. They're very short career, but they're just having the best run. They won. We're still waiting on who's going to be the 100th tag team
Yeah.
champions. We don't know yet. I thought we'd get Honda and Ayabe to challenge because they won early in the night, but no one came out to challenge except Doi came out. And he came out with beer and food for the boys. And they're just eating and drinking and having a good time. And then Ray got on the mic and says, "Hey, I'm challenging for the Triple Crown on August 3rd." So a win
Yeah, what
all
about that?
round.
I think the indication of who's going to challenge next, I think All Japan kind of does this thing that they spoil what they're going to do when they announce their future matches. And I think that Dave Boy Smith against Jun Saido sounds a little bit suspect. I mean, I think they're trying to build something there. And about the match was, I think, was great. And there is no multiverse or timeline in which you can put these four in the same ring and not have a great match. Especially because I think both Jun and Ray expressed as their idols, among them Kento Miyahara, and you can see the way they work. For example, the match structure of the Saidos usually have this part outside the ring when they brawl, they appeal to the public, which is kind of the slower part, which is also true for Kento. Then they go back inside the ring and all hell breaks loose, which is the greatest part of the match because it was the most spectacular part and the part that ties the match like a ribbon. And I would like for people who say that the Saidos are slow and unathletic to watch any and all of their big matches. They are basically sometimes pot matches. For example, if we think back of the match against the End, it was a very short match. It was the super heavyweight version of a spot fest. They went all in, they beat each other up. It was very fun. And this is also true for the second part of this match. They went at it like beasts. They were very aggressive. They were very fast. And also I think they have a massive wrestling brain. And they know what to do, when to do it. And also they have an incredible charisma, which in this case, it coupled very well with Kento and Yuma, which probably are the most charismatic beasts all Japan has to offer. So it was very, very fun. I really loved the match. Probably it was my match of the night.
Yeah. I loved it. But of course I did. Look at the four guys who were in it.
Yes, it's true.
But now to the main event. And there was big news before this match. Suwama announced this would be his last Triple Crown challenge ever. And I haven't changed my notes since I wrote it. I was like, it's truly the end of an era. The majority of people didn't want Suwama to win, but I did give him a thank you reign at least. I said on the last episode, this is going to be Suwama's thank you reign. It wasn't. I like the start, which was Suwama just toying with Anzai, throwing him around the ring, delivering some elbows, and even busting out like a enziguri. I was like, okay, Suwama, I see what you're doing. The suplex spot where it was suplex after suplex with either man wanting to go down until they just collapsed was great. I am an absolute sucker for this stuff, and it happened later in the month, and I loved it even more then. It wasn't as flashy as Anzai versus Kento or Hideki, but it was still great. I know a lot of people didn't think it was that great, but I thought it was good. It literally boiled down to power move after power move, and who was the one that could get back up in the end and deliver the final hit. I would have loved to Suwama hit a last ride. I just wanted to see it again, but he didn't hit it. He hit like 3 backdrops in a row. When he covered Anzai, I'm just like, okay, Anzai's kicking out. I didn't have any hope Suwama was getting the pin, and it's weird because you think 3 backdrops in a row, Anzai loses. But Anzai wins with a backdrop, Suwama's move. So that's big and absolutely crazy. I would have loved some acknowledgement between the two because Suwama is the one who found Anzai, but we got nothing. Hideki just took Suwama away. Honda's out to challenge next. He has a right since he defeated Anzai in the Champion Carnival, and they announced it a week later, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening in this match. I mean, it was the shortest last Treble Crown match of all time because it lasted, I think, 3 days. This is my last Treble Crown match ever. I was played like a fiddle because I even put on Twitter a post about how I was emotional about the match and all that stuff. And I mean, good on you, Suwama. You are a true poster. I respect you. I think the biggest. I'm also among the ones who like the match. I think it was a great match. I mean, the beginning was a bit slow, but what are you going to do? Suwama is almost 50. He's had a lot of injuries. Yeah, he's had a very long career. He's a bit heavier nowadays. So, I mean, it's not going to do a 30 minutes match like he used to do regularly. It's fine. He's getting old, and he's still a fantastic wrestler because you don't. It's not like you forget how to work when you get older, and he's still incredible. The biggest part of the match was the ending because, as you rightfully said, the backdrop was not only Suwama's move, but it was Jumbo's moves, and they were considered the two heirs of Jumbo. So seeing Anzai getting up from 3 backdrops, which is something it is a very strong signal of what they want this guy to be. And getting down Suwama with a nice backdrop too, it was very big. It was a very good showing. It would have been a weird send-off for Suwama because, as we said, it was not built as this emotional match, Suwama's last Triple Crown match in a big venue, because this is a match that I think had the chance to sell very well. As you said before, they were probably playing it safe because of the opposition they had that day, and so for this reason, I think it worked for what it was supposed to be. It was not supposed to be the biggest match All Japan built in the past. Like, for example, when they played Suwama versus Kento in the match when Kento was supposed to get Suwama's torch. It was a different beast this time. Also, at this point, I think the biggest passing of the torch match would be between Kento and Yuma more than Suwama. But still, this would have been a strong match for any other place, any other venue. But this was a good defense. I don't think Anzai had anything less than great defenses. I also love the match with Hideki. He's very good. For the short time he's been around, he's incredible. I don't remember someone being this good this early in his career. And the way he adapts to any kind of opponents he has is incredible. He doesn't always fight the same match. And we'll see this later with another match that he had in the tour. And speaking of wrestling brain, I think he's very, 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 very smart. He's a great worker and also a very smart worker. I don't know what Yuma Oyagi is doing in that dojo, but it seems like he's speedrunning the training of these guys. Even with Tayabe, he went in the dojo and he's already transformed like 3 months in. It's incredible. And Yuma, I think, is the biggest example of what he's doing.
It's just crazy, just how well he's doing and how just everyone comes out from the dojo looking like absolute superstars. It's insane, but we love it. It's good for us. It's good watching.
We literally love to see it.
Yeah. We're going to move to day 3. Dan Tamura and Hideki Suzuki defeated Kurosho Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana in 8 minutes and 21 seconds. Rei Saito defeated Musashi in 8 minutes and 49 seconds. Shotaro Shino and Hideki Shrek Suzuki defeated Suwama and Hikaru Sato in 10 minutes and 49 seconds. Yuma Oyagi defeated Seki Yoshioka in 8 minutes and 54 seconds. Jun Saito and Naruki Doi defeated Kento Miyahara and Ryu Inoue in 12 minutes and 24 seconds. And in the main event, Yuma Anzai, Ren Ayabe, Ryzen Hayato, and Riki Honda defeated Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, Cyrus, and Jack Kennedy in 16 minutes and 21 seconds. What match would you like to talk about first?
I would like to start with Rei against Musashi, which was a very good match. Also, now we know it, but Musashi is part of All Japan. And for a junior in All Japan, it is very important to be able to fight against big guys. Because I mean, All Japan is full of big guys, and you are eventually going to face them. And being able to work nice against a guy who weighs 3 times you and is 3 times taller, it is very important. And it did great. It threw massive chops with a guy like Ray, who eats like a bear. He is a monster. And he did very well. He did really well. I also liked Ray because he's great at portraying this unmovable object. And it was a very delightful time, honestly. It was this was never going to be the best worked show of All Japan's year, because it was a house show and all that. But for what it was, this was a very nice surprise.
Yeah, like you said, I think this was a video on demand show, and they don't really have crazy title matches on video demand shows, but there's always a hidden gem here and there. And it's so much fun to watch. I really liked Kento and Inoue versus Jun and Doi. Like I said, I Doi this new Inoue, just the attitude he had with Kento, even slapping Kento. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely on board, 100% on board. Kento's kind of bullied Inoue in the past. I thought it might continue when Inoue gets back, but it's like, nah, Inoue's not taking it anymore. I would love to see Inoue versus Doi for the belt. We got a little bit of these two in this match. I know Inoue will do so much better in this title match than he did with, who was it? Oh, Lindemann. That's why I didn't remember who it was, because that was a terrible match.
Wow.
But Doi's going to bring Inoue to a fantastic match. I just know it. I love Inoue to step up. Kento and Jun were great as well. Like we said, they had a great match early in the year. It was just a really fun tag match on this random show.
Yeah, also these kind of matches are very important for guys like Inoue, because these are no stakes shows. Basically, you go out there, you basically gain experience, and for him this is a very formative experience. And again, he did very well. He is improving at an incredible rate. He's getting better with his strikes, because last time we thought we brought up the fact that he had problem hitting this his savate kick, his rolling savate kick to the grounded opponent. He missed like 2 times out of 3. Now he's getting pretty consistent with his kicks. I think he will be challenging for the belt pretty soon, because I think the way I understand All Japan's work of the past few months, they are trying to showcase guys who are going to challenge 2-3 shows or maybe 2-3 tours from the moment. Like, for example, Musashi, he was, even before we knew he was about to sign, even though the signs were there that he was going to sign, he was booked very strong. He was in random matches, but he always looked strong. And I think this focus that they are putting on Inoue is kind of an indication of what we're going to see. He's very young, so of course it's going to be a while before he wins something big, because he's 22, I think. He was born in 2002, which is incredibly young for a business like Japanese wrestling, in which before you are 30, 32, you are not considered something serious, a real contender, even though we had Anzai, who broke every possible record for the Triple Crown. I think we're going to see him challenge. I thought this even before knowing what I learned 5 days later. We will talk about this result. And I think we're going to see something big from him pretty soon, I believe.
With the main event, we had Hokuto Ame versus Alpida. I feel like these two can really have a big feud in the future. And I wouldn't even be surprised if someone like Cyrus challenged Anzai, till loses the belt. I don't think Cyrus will win, but I could definitely see him challenge Anzai. And I can see Hokuto and maybe Kuma Arashi, Hartley Jackson, or even Jack Kennedy versus Saitos for the belt. Like this group is a contender, but they haven't challenged anyone yet. I'm just like, what are they waiting for? I don't think the Saitos have any challenges right now. Like, as of recording, I don't think so. Yeah. So it's just like, Hokuto, stand up and say, I want to challenge. And on the day, just like, yep, this is my partner. He doesn't have to say it now. He can just be like, someone from the Hokuto army will join. So
yeah,
do something with
Dago's
them.
army. Dago's army is very weird because it was this throwaway line that Ogudo used to throw after matches that he was going to form his army, and for a while it was a kind of a joke because Ogudo was being a goof back then, even if we don't talk about all the horse mask shenanigans, which I hated with a passion, even though the Japanese crowd seemed to like this kind of stuff, because I remember seeing at the carnival people with the horse mask in the crowd. So I was absolutely shocked to see that, but I hated with a passion what he was doing at the time. So to see him turn into this kind of generalissimo person is very weird. Also, he's got a very interesting crew. I like who's teaming with him. I don't know how they scouted this Jack Kennedy guy. I know he's a guy from Yanagase Pro, which is an incredibly small promotion. I don't know how you go out and scout this guy, but he's doing well. He's young, he's big, he's pretty confident in what he does. He does it pretty well. He's very efficient at being a big guy, even though, being a big guy in Yanagase Pro is not the same as being a big guy in Japan. Especially if you are teaming with Cyrus, who is a monster. I'm also happy to see Cyrus back. I like Kumarashi a lot. It's very interesting. I think out of the blue, they could become something a little bit bigger. I really can see them winning something. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Okudo doing well at the Odo, at the Royal Road. He's never going to win it this time, but I think he will win a couple of matches. I would not be shocked. And he is another one who's adapted very well to his new character. He is much more menacing in what he does. He is more efficient. He had a couple new moves, and he does them pretty well. And the Elpida guys are incredible. In matches like this, it's in no stakes show, are very important for the guys, because they're very formative, and they didn't have to go exactly super strong with the match, but it still was. It was a very fun main event. I like VOD shows because sometimes it is a very nice breath of fresh air, because matches and shows with big stakes can be a little bit exhausting, especially if we have them one after the other, because if every match is special, then no match is special. So if you break the tours apart and have big shows with shows like this, which basically are just for experience and to bring new people to your shows, especially if you go in places that you rarely visit, the shows are very important, and I always like them. Sometimes I look forward to this kind of shows more than I do with big shows, because big shows have this kind of stress that these shows don't have, especially because All Japan doesn't exactly treat this kind of shows like they are Z shows. You always have a couple of very nice matches, and they are always a good showing for the kids. I always have fun with this. And this was a very fun show. I liked it.
Yeah, I agree with that about the shows. Video demand shows are really fun. You can see the wrestlers kind of let loose a little bit. I think Kento is at his most chaotic on a video on demand show with just how much he screams. Like, go back and watch one of the 6-man tags he has. He's absolutely insane, and it's always so much fun to watch. But touching on the Hokuto army, I think it's very strange that when it comes to factions in All Japan, who their leaders are, it's always someone big. Like Suwama leads Evolution, Kento led Next Stream, Jake Lee had Jin and Total Eclipse. You know, back when Purple Haze was a thing, that was Zeus. Yuma Anzai leads Alpida, and he's like Hokuto Omori leading Hokuto's army, and he was in a horse mask a couple months ago, losing every single match. Like, I want him to be this big turnaround. I really do like the guy. I think he's a great wrestler, you know, when All Japan lets him show it. So I hope this is the launching point for him, even if he wins a title just like the Goro TV title or even the All Asia tag belts, which he already had a great reign with Kodama back in the day. So I can see him win a belt, not the Triple Crown, but I can see him win one, and I would like for him to win one because I think it'll give the Hokuto Army a boost it needs to compete with the other factions in All Japan.
Yeah, especially because the other factions are going super strong. We've had El Pila guys circling around all belts, basically. Minus the World Tag belts, I think. But we had Ayato was champion, junior champion. We had Ayabe having this decision match against Yuma. Of course, Yuma Anzai is Triple Crown champion. Honda has the challenge, and they are circling around all the belts, basically. So it was interesting to see the Okuto Army do well against basically the breakout stars of the promotion. And I also don't think that Okuto is winning the Triple Crown anytime soon, if ever. And but I think he would be a very competent World Tag Team champion. If you put him with Cyrus, I think you could have a good reign. He had a great reign as a All Asia tag, so he's good. I think we will just need time for him to leave all the shenanigans that he had in the past months behind, because he was caught in the middle, because he was Nakashima's partner. So when Nakashima left in that way, he basically was left without something to do. So they had that incredibly weird Champion Carnival run a couple of months when he seemed delusional, talking about this Okuto Army, and he was basically turned down by everyone. The only guy who stuck with him was Kumarashi.
Yeah, true.
Who is great, but he's not exactly All Japan's biggest member. And it is fascinating. I'm very curious. I'm very invested. I'm always rooting for him, because I always root for every kid coming out of the dojo, because it's always a great story. Also, he's good. I think he's good. His only problem is that he is very small. And in All Japan, it's not easy being a small heavyweight. We see with Ashino. Ashino is a superstar. And even then, yes, he won the tag belts twice, which in All Japan is a big thing. He won the Carnival. But as for Triple Crown, we're still nowhere near Ashino winning the belt. And Okuto is, I think, he's a little bit bigger, but he's still a small guy. Also, he's relatively young. He came out of the dojo not that long ago. So for him, it would be, I think, a while before he wins anything big. But I'm really rooting for him. I think he's adapting very well to his new role, which is not something to be taken for granted, because he comes from a very different place.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that we have to just wait and see and wait in, and sometimes can take so long with this. But it seems to be going in a good direction. They've got a couple of big wins under them so far.
Yeah, I think he beats Ashino though, which I mean, it's not the biggest feat, but he's still a 2 times World Tag Team champion and a Champion Carnival winner. So I mean, it's still something.
So now let's talk about day 4. This show was an evolution, the Age of Idiots show. Hideki and Suwama, they were the main event. They had special shirts made up for this. It was actually really adorable. For the card, Yuma Aoyagi defeated Jack Kennedy in 8 minutes and 1 second. Hokuto Omori and Cyrus defeated Seigo Tachibana and Kurisho Tokyo Japan in 12 minutes and 49 seconds. Kento Miyahara and Musashi defeated Shotaro Ashino and Rii Inoue in 12 minutes and 7 seconds. Riki Honda and Masashi Takeda defeated Yuma Anzai and Rising Hayato in 12 minutes and 33 seconds. Dan Tamura defeated Hikaru Sato in 12 minutes and 50 seconds. And in the main event, Suwama, Hideki Suzuki, and Mr. B defeated Jun Sato, Rei Sato, and Naruki Doi in 17 minutes and 49 seconds. I just want to touch on the Dan and Hikaru Sato match first. I just said 2 guys beating the crap out of each other. It was fan-tastic. No notes. It was perfection.
Yeah, I agree. I have similar notes, actually. I think you can put these 2 against one another. You can tie their arms with behind their backs, and they will still have a great match. Of course, they know each other very well. I believe Hikaru Sato had an end in bringing up Dan as a wrestler, and you can see that they really know how to play on each other's strengths. And also, it was a very intense, a very passionate match. It was probably my match of the night. a very good mix of grappling, which of course is both guys' background, and they're obviously very, very good at that, with a nice final stretch full of bombs. It was a very intense match, and with this kind of shows, the Evolution shows are always fun. I always like them a lot, but it is not exactly the most obvious thing to have a great match in these kinds of shows. But this was my match of the night. There was another match that I liked a lot that we will talk later, but this one was great, very good.
Putting Dan and Hikaru against each other anytime, they'll always bring it and they'll always produce a good match. I just thought this one was another level. And I always love the spot where one of them sits down and it's just like, okay, just kick me in the back. Kick me as hard as you can. I always love those spots. You see it a lot in Hikaru Sato's matches, but when he does against Dan, it's just extra special. Like these two have been tag partners for so long. They know each other so well. They do that weird show Sato has where there's like 10 guests and it's like behind a warehouse somewhere. Dan's always there. He's always supporting Hikaru Sato in his weird shows. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's true. It is like Sato is Suwama's biggest fan. I think Dan Tamura is Hikaru Sato's biggest fan. He's always with him. He's always by his side. It's very heartwarming.
The main event.
Yes.
I don't know what was going on here. Who the hell was Mr. B?
I think it was Akira Raijin, the former Sushi.
Oh, the sushi.
Yeah,
I've never seen him without his mask. Wow.
Yeah, he was. I think he was Suwama's dojo mate back in 2005. And a very weird career. He stopped a couple of times, then he came back with that weird gimmick. So I didn't know what to make of the match, honestly, and it was very chaotic. It was very, very chaotic. There were good moments in the match, but I think the biggest part of the match was how fun it was for the guys involved, and the people in the attendance seemed to liked it very well. This is the kind of match I think that you like a lot when you're there. It loses a bit when you watch it so far removed from another continent, watching behind the computer. But I think these are fun. These are obviously fun. They're not supposed to be super serious, but this was even more chaotic than I expected. I was very, very confused when they announced the series of shows with this Mr. S, Mr. B, Mr. X. I didn't know what to make because no one came to mind. And it ended up being, I think, I'm fairly sure it was Akira Raijin. And it was weird. It was very weird. Not as weird as Mr. S, I believe, which we will talk later, but still very weird.
I think the biggest thing after the match, bloody Suwama says he's withdrawing his statement that he'll never challenge for a Triple Crown again. I'm just like, we went through this emotional journey with you. We all, we're sad. We're like, this is it for Suwama, end of an era. And he's like, nah, just joking, guys.
JK, yeah, it was very, very weird. Everything was weird.
But then he disbanded Evolution, and then he's like, oh no, I don't think so. It's like, so Evolution disbanded for like 2 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, that would be heartbreaking. Evolution not being around would be a massive moment. They have been around for ages, even though they're not that big anymore. Because aside from Dan, I don't think they're getting. No, Suwama actually got the tag belts with Hideki, but aside from that, they are a bit on the side right now. But they're still a big part of All Japan. They've been for the past, I believe, 12 years or something like that. It would be a massive loss for me to see them go away. No, maybe 10 years. 10 years, maybe. Still a lot of, it's a lot of time. 10 years is a lot. It's a lifetime in wrestling.
It was just, so weird. Suwama, just stick to something. So don't go back on your word. But was there any other matches you want to talk about from the show?
I liked a lot the Honda and Masashi Takeda match. They are a fun couple, a fun tag, because I think they have story in common with their amateur days. Masashi, of course, I don't watch a lot of that match wrestling anymore because I don't have the time to watch all wrestling I would like to. But I'm big on that matches, and I adore Masashi Takeda. He is incredible. And to me, every time he pops up in All Japan, I'm always happy. I would love for him to have even a short junior run, because there's no way in heaven or hell that you can put this guy in All Japan and sell him like heavyweight. He's too short, too small, too light. But he's great, and I would love to see him have a short run on either on the All Asia belts or the junior title. I mean, he's big enough that you can put him anywhere and people will know him. He's very popular in Japan in the deathmatch community. Of course, it is not as big as it once was as a scene, but he's still one of probably the biggest name out there at the moment. And I adore him. I love the way he blends that match with his Amaresu style. He's great at doing suplexes, which is I adore it. This is my favorite thing in wrestling. And I just wanted to mention Masashi Takeda and how good he does with Honda.
Yeah, they teamed last month, I think. So this is the second month with them teaming together. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of death matches. I've seen some. It's just not my cup of tea. If you're a fan, more power to you. That's great. But I really do like Takeda. I really do like just how he still tries to bring the scissors out in All Japan. He'll get there one day. But
one day, Takeda.
Yeah, one day he'll stab someone, but not today. It was just a fun show, kind of like the new Chronicle show. It was just supposed to be fun. I mean, it was called The Age of Idiots. Like, what do you expect?
Yes, exactly. It was always going to be this. And it was great.
Yeah. But now the big show on day 5. This was at Korakuen, and they had a really good number. I think it was close to 1,300.
Yes,
And,
I believe it was. It was a very big crowd.
So we're going to start off with the All Asia Tag Team title match. Musashi and Seki Yoshioka defeated Naruki Doi and Mr. X, which turned out to be Senor Saito.
Yes.
I had no idea who this was under the mask till Lewis messaged me like, oh my God, that's Mazda. So thank you, Lewis, for that, because I'm like, who is this?
Shout out to Lewis, by the way. It was good old Masada, yes.
It was good match. It was good. Let's start with that. Like, Doi, Musashi, Yoshioka are great. Senor Sato did what he could. He's still fun to watch. But I just think it's so funny. It's like, this guy's connected to Mexico. We're gonna get another Sato brother. I'm just like, okay, well, we're gonna see the All Asia title change hands, and then out this guy comes, Senor Sato. I'm just like, okay, maybe not.
Not this time. Yeah, I've seen people wondering about this guy. I've seen a lot of big names brought up for this Mexican past, and it turned out to be Masada. It was very weird. Also, good call on Luis, who wrote me and said that now I am able to call myself the new Mr. S. I will be Signor Saito, the Italian cousin of the Saitos. From now on, I'm allowed. Yeah, Masada, I mean, you watch a Masada match, you've seen all of them. He's a pretty serviceable junior, not that young anymore. In fact, he's getting quite old. He has very strong friends in wrestling, which helped a lot in his career. He was a big part of Wrestle One, so he had his time under the sun. As I said, he's the most repetitive wrestler around, probably. He sticks to one formula and adapts every match to that. The other three obviously are great. I'm very happy to see Musashi and Yoshioka getting this shine. Yoshioka is another guy who's probably not that varied in his in the way he portrays himself and the way he wrestles, because a lot of people back then especially complained that he basically always wrestled the same match with the same combination every time. He's always running. He never stops. He always runs, and it's like 3-4 moves one after the other, then stops, then each other 3-4 moves. But I like him a lot, actually. And he does very well with Musashi, who is a lot more measured in the way he wrestles. He's kind of a big heavyweight, of a small heavyweight, excuse me, which is perfect for All Japan. I'll be very happy if Yoshioka stays as a regular because he works very well, because he's very different from the other junior guys in All Japan. It is something that works in his favor because he's a great wrestler, and being this different from the other is good because you can absolutely see how different he is from, for example, Dan Tamura, or even Doi. He's a very different guy from the others. So I would literally be down for him to be in All Japan, but I would still sign for him as a regular, as a freelancer.
So as we said before, Musashi is actually an All Japan wrestler now. He's signed. But how it happens just is really funny. So Musashi got the pin on Senyo Sato, not Doi. But he's like, Doi, I want a championship match. And Doi said no for two reasons. One, because he didn't lose the match. And the second one, because Musashi's a freelancer. And it's kind of just like, Doi, you're a freelancer too. But
Yes.
Musashi pleaded to the All Japan president, who was actually at kind of like ringside, sitting next to the ring announcer. He's like, please make me an All Japan wrestler. I really like it here. I have so much fun. And Fukuda's like, yeah, you can join. He does like a big O with his hands.
Yeah.
So that's how Musashi is now an All Japan wrestler. And that's a fantastic get. It really
absolutely.
is.
It's also weird because right until a couple of years ago, All Japan always announced their new signings on the first show of the year in January. Now they are basically disregarded everything we knew about this side, and they signed, if I remember correctly, Kambayashi on the 1st of April last year, the referee, and the same for Ayabe this year on the 1st of April. They also announced the new kids who passed the tryouts. So I believe that April the 1st was the moment when All Japan announced their new guys. Now with Musashi signing in July, I don't know what to think. And I'm kind of hoping that we will see this more often, because I think it is cool to have guys signing up, being presented on a particular show, because you always look forward to that particular date. But to be in this position of constant surprise, I think is also very fun. I'd love to see someone else being brought in this way, maybe in a less random fashion than Musashi, but still.
I don't know. I was there on the first show of the year. I was just like, okay, let's go. Yabe's coming out in the tracksuit, and then nothing happened. I was like, damn it. Like, I want to see that. But we still got him. He's still signed. He's an All Japan wrestler now, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, just more great signings with Musashi. If we can get Yoshioka, even like someone like Kuma Arashi. I really, really like Kuma. I think he can do great. We'll see. They're regulars in All Japan, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm also down for Seigo Tachibana. I made my personal agenda for Japan to sign Tachibana. I think they have some kind of relationship with Ikemen, Kuroshio, some kind of special freelance relation, because I think they were about to show a Kuroshio show, something like that. Like they supported Unagi Sayaka, and they are supporting Shiroko Shinaka. So I don't know if they have some kind of relationship or partnership, but I don't know actually. I'd be down for him to sign more guys. They are getting bigger. They had a few big stops a few months ago, which was a very tense moment for All Japan, especially on Twitter. It was nightmarish. And right now, they seem to be getting on track. They seem to be more sure of themselves and getting new guys, even if they are not as big as Musashi and Ayabe, who is going to be a big part of All Japan's future, at least in their intentions. It will be nice.
I do also like that Musashi is an older junior, so he can kind of help mold the younger juniors. That's going to be really cool to see.
Yes.
So moving on from that, Rie Inouye, Shotaro Shino, Hideki Suzuki, and Kyushu Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana defeated Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, Cyrus, Jack Kennedy, and Azawa number 1 in 8 minutes and 13 seconds. And just give thanks to the Omori and his crew for cutting Jiro's entrance just a little bit short. Cyrus power bombing Jiro and Tachibana at the same time looked really, really cool. And Inoue picking up the win. Look at him go. It's always great to see Inoue, and it's the right move for him.
Yeah, basically you said everything I wanted to say about this match. Those were also my big points of the match. Yeah, I mean, you're not an heel if you cut short Gigaman in entrance. It is a face move, honestly. As much as I like Gigaman, I don't have every time 20 minutes to see him come to the ring. And yeah, Cyrus power bombing two guys at the same time was monstrous. He is a beast. And the biggest part of the match, because it was a very random match, Okuto Army against this ragtag group of people which had nothing in common. Getting the win was big, and this is what I was referring before when I said that I think we're going to see him challenge pretty soon, because Aizawa #1, of course, is not the biggest name around, but he's still a well-respected guy in the Indies, and to be able to get a win with this fantastic finisher, I love his suplex, I love it a lot, and to be able to win, to be the guy who wins in a Korakuen show with that many people, it is a good sign that the promotion is behind you. And I think we're going to see something big for him pretty soon.
Yeah, I can definitely see him come out and challenge the winner of Doi versus Musashi.
Yeah. I believe it could be very, very well possible.
Now we have Kohei Wada's 50th anniversary match, which saw Masanobu Fuchi, Jun Saito, and Rei Saito defeated Suwama, Dan Temura, and Takao Omori in 9 minutes and 42 seconds. And we all love Dream Warriors, we all love the Sato's theme, but them coming out to Danger Zone was just so cool.
Yes.
And Fuchi's back. I adore this 70-year-old man. The first move he hit was like a dropkick on Suwama, and the crowd absolutely loved it. They booed Suwama whenever he touched Fuchi. But Fuchi, doing 2 scoop slams on Suwama, some more drop kicks, a backdrop, like he was done. He's like, I'm tired. I don't care who sees it. Like, I'm tagging out. I'm out of here. But because this was Wada's 50th anniversary, he got some flowers after the match, and there was this weird instrumental version of the song Take My Breath Away, which was really funny. But poor Masao Inoue just had such a hard time getting in the ring, even just walking to the ring. Next time, just let him stand outside the ring. It was really, really hard to watch and really sad to watch, actually. But one more thing, and this is a big thing. Dan's out of Evolution. There was no Evolution logo on his tights. Like, this really is the end of an era, this one, when it comes to Evolution. So I don't know what happens with Dan now. I don't know what happens with his team with Takara Sato, but new Dan incoming.
Yeah, that's a big thing. In this heartwarming scenario of Fuji beating the shit out of younger guys, which is always a party for me, especially when it's his insane backdrops on kids. I always have fun with that. Yeah, then I think at this point is too big to be someone who is in a group, especially a group that is not central to the promotion anymore. I don't know what is going to happen. I don't think we're going to see another faction, because right now there are a lot, and but there are a lot of people who are outside doing nothing. Basically, Kanto is free, Yuma is free. I don't know, Extreme doesn't exist anymore. So basically, when he comes back, Atsugi is free. We have Ashino is free. We have a lot of guys who are basically doing nothing unit-wise. And I'd be curious to see what is going to happen to him. Of course, right now he's too strong of a name and a competitor to be outside the spotlight. So I think we are still getting a lot of big things from Tamura. But yeah, it was kind of sad, because he built himself like this sort of small version of Suwama, especially in the beginning when he bleached his hair. He was this short version, this mini version of Suwama. For a time, I used to call him on Twitter El Hijo de Suwama. He was some sort of minion, and now he's too big to be a minion of anyone, I think. I don't know what's going to happen with Sato, because Sato, I think, is the closest man to Suwama we've got in all Japan, not only in all Japan, I think in all pro wrestling, except for maybe Shuji. Ishigawa, which he shares a promotion. And so I don't know. I don't know if Sado is going to leave Evolution 2. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm very curious.
I feel like Sato could never leave Evolution, and I think it's because of his old tag partner, Asushi Aoki. I feel like he still has that connection to Evolution, and I feel like he wants to keep that connection to Evolution.
That's
But
also true.
Dan leaving was just a shock. But also with this match, I just want to point out just how many years difference these wrestlers have of experience. You have Fuji and Wada, 50 years. Suwama and Kawamori, what, 20, 30 years experience. And then Saito Brothers and Dan, which under 10 still. And they're all signed to All Japan, except for Omori. But just to see the range and just see them bust out this really cool match.
Yeah, it was also cool to see guys like the Saitos and Dan, who are basically very young. They have, I think, then I don't know, probably 6 years of career, something like that. The Saitos have been around for less than 3 years. To share the ring with the other guys is incredible. Those are big parts of All Japan's legacy. It's someone more than others, but they are, I'd call them all legends, basically. Fuji was All Japan's junior division for a lot of years, for two entire decades. And Omori was a big part behind the scenes. He is a former Triple Crown champion. He's a multiple times tag champion. Suwama is Suwama. Wada has been around since the Mesozoic. He's been around since forever. And to be in the ring with these guys, I think it's very cool. It shows how the promotion believes them to be a part of the promotion's future and the heir of a legacy. Because in Japan, there is this strong sense of legacy for promotions, especially promotions with this kind of story like All Japan. So being considered to be the heir of someone is always big. And it was very cool. Also, it's always fun to see Fuji. Now that he's wrestling like 2 times a year, he can put all his greatest hits in a match. He does his drop kicks and scoop slams for like 5 minutes, then he's out, and it's perfectly fine. He deserves to do whatever he wants. He's allowed.
I love how that's everyone's opinion of Fuji. He can do what he wants.
Yes, he deserves it.
I do love that they just had like this little celebration for Wada, because a lot of referees, people consider them like behind the scene people, like just count the pin and that's it. But Wada's Wada. He's a huge referee. He's been there since the start, basically. So I like he had this little celebration. It was very nice.
Yeah, I agree. Although I'd be perfectly fine if he leaves the Triple Crown scene entirely. I'd like to see Gambayashi work the big matches because Wada struggles a bit. Of course, he's getting older, and maybe big matches with big tempos are not exactly his cup of coffee anymore. He's probably too old to work these kind of matches. But of course, Wada is another big part of All Japan. He deserves to be wherever and however he wants. He can do whatever he wants. He's free for me.
Just like Fuji, just do whatever you want.
Exactly. He's the future of referees.
Yeah. Now to a number 1 contenders match. Yuma Oyagi defeated Ren Ayabe in 11 minutes and 54 seconds. And all I said is 2-time Triple Crown Yuma incoming. Ren will get there one day, but not today.
Yeah, I agree. This was my main thing too. I think Yuma is getting the title. Even if he doesn't, I'm always happy when he challenges. I think now he's a pretty believable opponent. This is the biggest opponent, the biggest risk for Yuma Anzai. I mean, Rei, of course, is a big part of All Japan. The World Tag Belts are the second most important titles in the promotion. Rei is a big superstar. He has a lot of fans, but he beat Anzai in the Carnival. There's no way he's going to beat him twice, and he will be used to bring people to see the show. Of course, their numbers for the pre-sales are great. I out of curiosity yesterday, I took a gander on the sites, and a lot of tickets have been moved already, and it's very interesting. it will be a great match because these two understand each other, and this will be it. But he's not getting the belt this time. Yuma, on the other hand, I think he has big chances to win the belt. And the match was great in itself. It was not a long match. It was on the shorter side, but it was great. It was a nice little banger. The tempo was very high, even though Ayabe is heavy. He's a very FT guy, even though he's very thin. But when you are 2 meters, you are going to wait a lot, and he needs to breathe and everything and all that jazz. But it was a very fast-paced match. It was full of big moves, and I love how Ayabe out of nowhere has the biggest bridges in all Japan. His suplex are incredible.
They're really beautiful.
Yes, it's incredible for a guy with that build, and it was great. It was very great, very good match. And Ayabe, if things go how they are planned, is going to get the Triple Crown sooner or later. He's going to be a big part of All Japan. Right now, it would have been a good story, but we've already had an Elpida Triple Crown match for the moment, so it will be for the future. Right now, it was the right result. The right man won.
I think this was a good match, but it was overshadowed by better matches. Like, this was a huge night for big matches, and this was good, but it was just overshadowed, unfortunately.
Yeah, there were especially 2 matches that were incredible. Two very good matches that I would put. Yeah, I would say later about what I think about the main event, but even the following match was great, and it was a nice streak of matches. It was a good 3 matches in a row that were very, very good. This was a very stacked card, in fact, because I also liked the opener a lot, and this is another card that could have deserved a bigger venue probably, but consider the way they are speed running their shows these days, it made sense to put this kind of card in the Korakuen. I have a theory about what they're trying to do with their big faces. Maybe we'll talk about this later. And I think this fits in that kind of scenario.
I'm very excited to hear, but before we have to talk about the Goodbye Next Stream match, Kento Miyahara defeated Rising Hayato in 13 minutes and 26 seconds. So if you know me, you know I love Next Stream. I adore this faction. So this match made me really sad. The video package with the voiceover calling this Sayonara Next Stream just felt like a punch in the gut. Watching the video package with the whole timeline from Jake to Kento to Yuma and Naoya to Asuki and Hayato was really sweet but sad. And then Hayato coming out to his old music was another punch in the gut. It was good, fun, emotional. Kento was his absolute worst here. Just peak Kento. He was such a menace. Hayato still looked great even in defeat. I don't think he can look bad losing to the ace of the company. But Kento not pinning with shutdown suplex. He got a roll-up pin on Hayato. And we've got to say, actually, Hayato lost the belt to a reversal, not an actual finishing move. So bad month for Hayato. But Next Stream's over. It makes me sad, but the younger generation does not need Next Stream anymore because they are branching out on their own. They don't need an older guy to lead them anymore. We'll talk about what happened after, but what do you think of the match?
The match was great. It was also, for me, a very bittersweet match. Next Stream was a big part of All Japan's rebirth because they went literally from rags to the riches for a while. They kept having problems, unfortunately, with people leaving and all that stuff. But Next Stream was what made All Japan interesting again for a lot of people. And to see the promotion saying that, okay, that was it. You've had your run. Now we don't need Next Stream anymore. And basically, right now, the promotion was loosely based around Kento, the unit, excuse me. It was not a strong unit anymore, and it made sense, but it was also very sad. But this goes for Evolution and for Suwama getting out of the scene eventually. To have new people becoming big we will need for all the units and the people who have been around for a lot to get out of the spotlight, or at least not to be at the center of things anymore. And of course, it is unfortunate, but it is inevitable, absolutely unavoidable. If we want to see these new guys emerge and become their own thing, they need to get rid of the past. And I think the story was told very, very effectively in the match, because we had Kento, who is against this kind of opponents, guys from his unit or his old unit in this case. He always tried to assert himself as the leader, and he's an asshole in these kind of matches. And Ayato, on the other hand, tried to prove himself every step of the way, which was very, very, very effective. And he hit hard. He threw a lot of mean-spirited chops, which are great to see. And the fact that he didn't lose with a shutdown, but instead with the Japanese leg roll clutch, it was meant to signify something. It's not the kid anymore who's being thrown around. Right now he's a serious contender. He's an important part of All Japan, and not even Kento can put him out so easily.
So afterwards, Kento got on the mic and announced he will lead the main unit faction. He also says he will team up with other people he didn't like or never have before. And the first person he picked to team up with is Davey Boy Smith Jr. So he's on his way back to All Japan. It's rumored he signed a 6-month deal with All Japan. I don't know if that rumor is true. I'm not going to look into it because I don't really like rumors and stuff. But that was surprising. Like, I feel like, okay, well, so business tag's over, huh? No more Kento and Yuma, okay. They always find their way back to each other, but it's like, okay, maybe this time they won't. Like, what's going to happen with these two? Kento saying he's going to team with people he doesn't like or never have before is actually really exciting. So do you have any like wish partners for Kento?
Yeah, I was saying before, first of all, I don't track rumors either, so I didn't look into that news, but I've heard the same rumor. And I don't know. As I said before, I think Davey Boy is going to challenge for the black belts. So maybe we're going to see Kento with him. I don't know. I would like to see him. I don't know if he could team well with Ashino, but I would love to see Ashino being around the spotlight with something so important. It would be something good for him to do. And that's what I would go for. I don't know who else. There are a lot of people who are with nothing to do, basically. Yuma, of course, is going after the Triple Crown, and I believe he's winning it. And so I think this is one of the reasons why they're trying to keep them separated for a while. But I don't know, it opens for a lot of interesting scenarios, which I'm very curious about. I have to say I look forward to the next couple of months. I think a good amount of interesting things could come up of the next couple of tours.
Ashino was my number one pick too.
Yes.
I would love to see that team. Also, it's not he hasn't teamed with this person before, but T-Hawk. T-Hawk and Kento make a great team. And we haven't seen a guy from Glee, Great, whatever, in so long. So just bring back just this random team that work really well together, Kento and T-Hawk. But this is just me, but I would love to see Kento and Suwama team. They hate each other.
Oh, wow.
Like, they're just like older brothers who just fight all the time. Like, it's my turn in the ring. No, it's my turn. I just want to see them. This could have been part of Suwama's farewell tour, but you know.
Yeah, that would be great, actually. I remember the time when they won the World Tag League. They won the tournament and they split immediately because they hated each other's guts. And it would be very nice to see them together. It would be a nice farewell to Suwama. And yeah, I'd be down for that, honestly.
Yeah, but it's exciting. Davey Boy's in. I do believe he'll challenge for the belts with Kento, whether they win or not. I'm not sure. But yeah, Kento has a new faction. It's like no one has said, I'm going to join, but I feel like we'll see people join in the future.
Yeah, it's loosely based around Kento. Not unlike Nextreme, which was it had a very strong identity of the promotion's future, just like Elpida is now, I think. I believe this faction will be more loose, and we will see a couple of random faces, I believe, for a while at least. But I'm very curious.
We had that faction last year when Nagata was TC champion. It was like Kento, Hayato, Yuma, Asuki, and Suji. It's like, yeah, we're the main unit and nothing came of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I do believe this one's going to be better than the last one, and they're actually going to do something because I feel like they're heavily focusing on factions. So I'm excited to see who's going to join. I kind of want Inoue to join, but I feel like he's like, nah, I'm too good for factions.
Yeah, that would be interesting because right now the character is, nah, I'm too good to be with anyone. So it would be very fun to see if he's going to stick with Kento, who is the most asshole older brother you can possibly have. He's been that kind of character for a lot of guys. They built a story for Okuto that was allegedly mistreated by Kento when he was a rookie. And this is the kind of story that the promotion tells repeatedly with Kento. He's the asshole who beats the shit out of his minions. So it would be very interesting to see if Inoue is going to get around with this loose faction that we're going to see. I think I'm agreeing with you. It will be better than the last main promotion unit that happened last year. Also, whoever is booking All Japan right now is much more unit oriented than whoever is booking before that. We know it was Shuji, and if I know there are rumors for who's booking All Japan, and whoever it is someone who likes units a lot.
True. I just want to point out the thing you said about Kento. He has such annoying older brother energy. Like, I don't know if you saw the video on, I think it was on his channel. Like, he went to the dojo, he was doing a tour, and like, he went to Inoue's room and he was like, yanked the door open. Inoue was trying to keep it closed and he like just used all his force to get in Inoue's room. She's like, leave him alone, Kento. He's so mean.
Yeah, he's an asshole. But a funny one.
Yeah, we love him still.
Yeah, we adore him.
So now we're going to talk about the main event. I think we're going to talk about this in sections because there's so much to talk about. So Yuma Anzai defeated Riki Honda in the Triple Crown Championship match in 22 minutes and 42 seconds. So we're just going to start off with Honda and his new look. He has red hair, red gear, like this robot half-looking mask. It's very cool, but I think it's very harsh for him because he leans more to the goofy side than the serious side. And I'm not loving the red. I don't think it suits him that well. I really like the blue and silver scheme you had before, but what do you think?
Yeah, the eyebrows are something. The red eyebrows were very distracting, especially in the more emotional parts of the match when they showcased his face, his emotions with those red eyebrows were very distracting. Yeah, it was weird to see him come out with this new color combination. I don't know if it will stick or if he'll revert to his blue, black, and silver combo. I don't know. It was weird. It's typical that a guy that has a big match changes his attire maybe for a match. So I don't know. It was weird. Maybe if we were more used to him dressing in another color, because he's always dressed either black or blue. Since he debuted, it was black for a long time, black and gold, black and silver, black and blue. And now seeing it come out with all this red, it was weird. I don't know, actually. I don't know if it will stick. It made an impression of someone who was trying to change his history. And another important part of the match, it was that they were trying to show two guys that are on the same level, although they are not, because, of course, one is the youngest Triple Crown champion of all time. So it was interesting to see him trying to branch out, even from a attire perspective. It was very interesting. Not sure if it was visually appealing, but it was a nice choice, an interesting choice at least.
Honda confuses me a bit. I love the guy, but his gear is just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's all colorful and fun and bright. And he comes out in red or like black and dark blue. It's just his shirts don't match his ring gear, but it matches his attitude, his goofy attitude.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He will not get rid of his goofy side anytime soon, I think. Even when he will get the Triple Crown, he will be still a kind of an ass, just like Yuma. I think he is exactly that kind of wrestler. They are goofy, they have fun, but they can be serious and weird in the same match. They are very similar in that regard.
I like that Anzai has so far faced older guys, wrestlers who have proven themselves. So this was special because there was two guys still young in age, 25 and 24, still young in their careers, and they main evented like a packed Korakuen Hall, and they absolutely killed it. So it's like, okay, we're all in on the younger generation. Like we don't need a Kento or Suwama or Hideki, although we still want them around. They don't need to be always in the main event scene. We have these younger guys who have proven themselves time and time again they can do it. It's just, I love these two. Their match at Champion Carnival was one of my favorites of the whole tournament. This one topped it, no doubt. Honda was the star here for me. He shined brighter than Anzai. The moment when Anzai went for a jumping knee and Honda caught it and hit the final event, oh my God, that got me. I'm like, holy shit, Honda's winning. Anzai kicked out, obviously, but Honda started the month dancing like an absolute fool at the new Chronicle Z show. And he is almost the winning the Triple Crown at the end of the month. It's just like crazy.
What a range. Yeah, this was the youngest Triple Crown match in history as combined age. And I think there's no way to beat this number. The Triple Crown, of course, right now things are a little bit different, but the Triple Crown was not a toy for kids. It was meant for guys older than 30 years, basically. There were exceptions, but basically you became a serious competitor when you became 30 or older. So seeing these guys this young already having these matches is incredible. It is very exciting. And also it is a testament to the new vision the promotion has. I think they are very coherent with what they're trying to convey with their story. And exactly, I agree with you that Honda stole the show. It was a bit different from the kind of matches that we've seen for the Triple Crown for a while, because All Japan has always had a more measured style. It is not like New Japan, where every big match especially has 32 counters, sequences when people counter each other. And we saw this a little bit, not in a very distracting fashion, luckily, in this match. Like you mentioned, for example, when Honda caught midair Anzai's knee, and we saw a couple of occasions in which they countered each other perfectly. They tried a lot to anticipate each other's moves, which was perfect for the story they were telling. These were two kids who were trying to showcase that they belong, that they can carry the promotion on their backs, like Suwama did before, like Kento did before. And they were trying to showcase how strong they are already, despite being this young. And the match had a faster pace than a lot of Triple Crown matches of the past, and it was not very long. They went strong from the get-go, and it was a very good match. I don't want to anticipate what I'm going to say later, but I really adored this match. It was incredible. I was on the edge of my seat throughout all the match.
When it comes to Anzai's defenses, what was your favorite one so far?
This was easily my favorite. I also loved the one against Kento because, of course, it was a passing of the torch moment. Even if it was Korakuen, so it is always going to be a big result if you win a Triple Crown match there, especially if you beat Kento. But it was a match that probably deserved a bigger venue. And probably this was one of the reasons for my choosing this match over the other. But up until this match, that one was my favorite. All the same, it was an incredible match.
Yeah, I thought they just did such a great job. I think this is my favorite of his defenses, followed closely by Kento. And then closely by Hideki and then Suwama's last, but I love that match more than a lot of other people.
The one with Hideki was great too. I liked that a lot.
They just did so well. I'm just so happy for these two guys. They're just so young. When a lot of people look at All Japan, they're just like, okay, we know Kento, Anzai's on the rise, but like, who the hell's Honda? It's just like, watch this match. He's such a star. And this is coming from someone who didn't like Honda at all when he broke out of his rookie stage. I'm just like, no, like, who is this guy? Like, he's challenged for a Triple Crown already? No way. But here he is, like, one of my favorites now.
Yeah, Honda, if I remember correctly, was the youngest guy to ever compete for the Triple Crown. The first time he challenged, he was, I believe, 21, which is shocking. And I always liked him, even in Wrestle 1. But to see him become this version of himself is incredible. He's the guy who doesn't come out of All Japan from the get-go, who is the most All Japan guy you will ever find. I mean, he entered the dojo when he was like 19 or 20, so of course he was still very young and he was shaping himself, but he was like he was born in All Japan. And it is a very important thing in All Japan, because it is a promotion that put a lot of emphasis on the legacy and on what you're expected from when you come out of a dojo. People want certain things from you, and Honda encapsulates them perfectly. He's getting better, he's getting more confident. I believe he was probably the youngest tag team champions of all times too, because he was 21 or something like that. So he's already getting a lot of accolades. And one of the things I've seen mentioned, rightfully, that this match didn't have a build-up. That a match this big, a story this big with the guys from Elpida, which is the promotion, the faction, which basically says that they are the future of All Japan, and to see their two main guys facing each other for the Triple Crown with basically no build-up was, on one hand, weird. On the other hand, I think it fits in the vision All Japan has for the moment. That is, they are trying to gamble. They put this much pressure on their kids to see if they are able to do what they're supposed to do. For example, they put a lot of matches in this short span in bigger venues, because I don't know exactly where. I think in Sendai they're having the next big match, which is Saito territory. So they're playing more or less safely, but the venue is big. And they are trying to speedrun this reign of Anzai to showcase, or at least to see if he can prove himself to be the guy who carries the torch. And he's facing younger guys, and the same goes for the tag belts. The Saito brothers getting the belts despite having this shorter career. I think they're trying to see if their kids are able to carry the promotion. I think they're going all in to allow them to prove themselves. I think this is the big gamble they are taking right now. Right up until this moment, I think everything worked. If someone wanted more epic match, more passionate build-ups, they're not getting it, because I don't think this is what they're going for. But I think if things go like All Japan envision them, we are going to look back to this time in the following years, because this is the time where the starts are made. I think this is what they're going for.
That's really smart. Yeah, I never thought of that, but they are taking a gamble on their younger stars. Definitely, it's paying off. That's for sure.
Really.
But with the build up, I have trouble with, like, okay, why is there no build up? Why are we getting a champion match like literally the next show? Like, literally the next show is Ray versus Anzai. But we still have some build up, but that was months back in the Champion Carnival, so we can look back to that. But I just want a little bit more. I feel like they're rushing through it, and a lot of other people do too.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's, I think, the main issue with these things we're seeing with All Japan is that they are not trying to build up these matches, because all of them would be perfectly big stories to tell in a much more diluted way.
probably not the Degi defense, but the silly Degi is a star of the indie scene. And also, I believe he has a big role behind the scenes in All Japan, even if we disregard all the rumors. Of course, he's Suwama's new best pal in the promotion. And so that accounts to something, I believe. And I mean, Yuma versus Anzai versus Kento, that's a big match. That's something that deserves a big build-up. The same goes for the match against Suwama, especially if you sell the match like the last hurrah for Suwama for the Double Crown. Or the match with Honda, this is the biggest story you can tell. The match against Ray, it is a big story. You're putting the two main guys against each other because those are the main belts. And you could have put a month-long program before the match. I think that would have been perceived differently. I think more people would be talking about those matches if they played them differently. But I think they're trying to do something a little bit different. We'll see, of course. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. We don't know. So maybe I'm wrong, completely wrong. But I think we will see. I think this is a very exciting times because we are seeing a lot of big matches from guys that 2 months ago were doing something else. For example, Honda. Honda, of course, was always a big competitor. If we take last year's Hodo, he beat in a streak all the aces of the promotion. So it's not something coming out of the blue, but still is a new face. So I think they're gambling a bit. We'll see if this is going to be. Up until this moment, I think everything is working just fine. We'll see how the next two big shows go.
The thing is, they are rushing through it, but every Triple Crown match is so good. So they're still hitting with those matches. They're not suffering from lack of build-up in match quality. It's just that we would just like a little bit more story.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't have this big issue with this absence of build-up, because still, if the matches are this good, if they're able to tell the story all the same, I think it's okay. I know that a lot of people would have liked them to do things more slowly, and that's perfect. That's a perfectly valid complaint. It's just that I like what I'm seeing. I've loved this month actually. I loved every show. I had a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to the future. This made me very curious to see what they're going to do. Who's going to beat Anzai? Probably Yuma. Who's going to get the dark belts? If Musashi is going to beat Doi on the first defense? There are a lot of questions that are ready to be answered in the next couple of shows. And the good thing, we are not going to wait a lot to see these results. They will be one after the other in a very short span. And that's exciting too. I think this is very different from what we're used to. And it also it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I was actually going to say that, like, looking to the future, what's going to happen? We have the Royal Road tournament coming up, and then looking at the belts, it's just like, who's going to dethrone them? I think both of us think Yuma's going to win. Yuma beats Anzai, but junior title, Gora, TV title, All Asia, World Tag, we still have those belts to go, and it's exciting. It really is. July has kind of kicked it up a notch, I think.
It's a very exciting time. I'm loving it, honestly.
That was All Japan. There were the matches. We're just going to move on to a couple notes now. So the Sato brothers have released their first ever photo book. This is actually really exciting. They said, we're going to have a big announcement. We're announcing it tomorrow. This has me freaked out because whenever All Japan's like, we have an announcement, I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen now? But it's a photo book. The last one was Kento, and that was a couple years ago. That's when he had his split gear. He's like one red leg, one yellow leg gear. So that was ages ago. So this is really, really exciting, and the fans love it.
Yeah, if you see when they do their showcase in their public, I don't know how they're called. They're meeting with fans basically when they're basically talk shows. They're out there and talk, and they have massive crowds in front of them, which is incredible. It's shocking how popular these guys are becoming, and I'm very, very happy to see it. And this kind of a deal, these books, these picture books are pretty popular in Japan. Not in all Japan, because they, as you said before, we have not seen a lot of them. But it is a nice way to attract more people, especially with guys like the Saitos, who are basically TV stars locally, because they are in a TV show in Sendai, but they are very popular. And it is a very smart move. I'm glad to see them branch out with these kind of things.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we haven't got a photo book since Kento. Satos have one now. It's doing well. I'm really, really happy with them. So good on them.
I believe they were going to do that with Ayato, but I don't think nothing came out of it for the book with Ayato, because I've seen some pictures of him when he was dressed like some sort of idol of pop star, and I was surprised nothing came out of it.
Maybe we'll get it one day.
Yeah,
They sell well.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Does All Japan not like money? Like, just do it.
Yeah, those print money, really.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Royal Road because participants have been revealed. They're Yuma Anzai, Kento Miyahara, Yuma Oyagi, Shotaro Ishino, Riki Honda, Dan Temura, Cyrus, Hideki Suzuki, Hokuto Omori, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Kuma Arashi, Joel Redman, Jun Saito, Rei Saito, Ren Ayabe, and Suwama. So a couple notes here. Joel Redman is back. His last appearance in All Japan was way back in 2019. So he has competed in the Champion Carnival and World Tag League, so he is familiar with All Japan tournaments. And he's pretty popular with the fans back then. They liked him. Suwama was announced last. So him withdrawing his statement of no more Triple Crown matches is official. I was like, oh, please don't be X. Please don't be X. And then Suwama pops up. I'm like, damn, I wish it was X, actually. I love Suwama, but it's just...
He's been around. He's been around a while. We've seen a lot of weird things from him. Yeah, this was quite a bit of people, quite a large amount of people. It was quite hefty, honestly. I'm happy to see the return of Joel Redman because he was very popular when he last appeared in All Japan. So it was kind of weird to see him stay away for this long a time. But I'm happy to see him back. Like I said on Twitter, I'm happy with the foreigners they're bringing in. I don't know who's calling them, who decides what to bring in, but they fit very well. And I'm happy to see that David Boy Smith Jr. changed his style to adapt to this more nostalgic version of himself. This kind of ode to the 80s, which in All Japan fits perfectly. I liked him in the Carnival quite a lot. And of course, the crowd loved him because he was a very popular name for New Japan and Noah reasons. So he was a very popular guy. And the guys from inside the promotions are there. And probably the only one that stays out from this equation is Ikemen. I don't think Kurosho is out, yes. Which is weird, but I'm not complaining because in a tournament, seeing the entrance every day is quite a struggle, even though the Odo is a direct elimination formula, so we wouldn't see him every day, but still, I'll take it. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the guys they announced.
I'm actually really surprised Jiro wasn't announced because he was in Champion Carnival, he was in World Tag League. So is this just like some time off for him from All Japan, or is this kind of a goodbye for now? I don't know. I don't want him to take Tachibana with him if it is.
Yeah. If he goes, I hope Saigo stays, honestly. He's my boy.
But who do you think will win?
I don't know, actually. Yeah, that's it, right? I don't know. This year, I'm very curious because, as we said before, they're speedrunning the Triple Crown scene, the Triple Crown events, match after match. In a month, we have two shows. In a tour, three main events, three total matches, and so I don't know. I don't know. Probably, if Yuma's going to win, we're going to get a big name who's not going to be dangerous enough to be a guy who can snatch the title immediately. But I don't know. I'm open to every kind of result because I look forward to it, honestly. I like when I don't have an idea of what is going to happen. I'm down to be surprised.
I was thinking if Anzai defeats Yuma, Kento's out, Yuma's out, Hideki's out, Honda's out, Suwama's out, and then Ray, because they've faced Yuma before. But this is if he wins. But I think Davey Boy Smith, with him having a longer run in the company, I think he could win this.
You know what? I agree. David Boy Smith is the kind of guy that is very popular with the crowd. He's very reliable in the way he represents the promotion he's in at the moment. For example, I don't follow him on Twitter, but I've seen a couple of tweets when he was in the carnival. He showed a lot of respect for the promotion, which is something that the crowd really loves. And I don't know if that's him as a person or if he's just playing the part of someone who is going to get something big from a promotion. I don't know. I think he has chances, honestly. He has chances even if he gets a chance to tag belts. I think if he challenges, he could very well win. And the same goes for the Odo, for the Royal Road. I think he's a very believable name, especially if Anzai wins. If Yuma wins, I don't know. Everything is up in the air. But I think even in that case, it would be a very believable choice.
Yeah. Yuma Oyagi always loses in the first round. He's never made the second round of this tournament, so expect him to lose in the first round.
Which is incredible, all things considered.
But Dan Tamura being in this is exciting. The only junior,
very happy.
If he stays a junior, and especially now that he's left Evolution, this could be the start of something new for Dan.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm very happy for him. He does very well with guys bigger than him because he is a very scrappy dude. Even, of course, when he's facing guys his size, is the stronger guys because he's very heavy in his style. But he could do very well against big guys too. He is in the way he approaches big guys. He reminds me of Kondo. Kondo was bigger because even if he was very short, he is very short. He's insanely hefty for a junior. And but aside from that, he approaches the matches with the big guys in the same identical ways. He doesn't fight like a junior. He fights like he's an heavy facing an heavy, which is good, which is very interesting and very different.
He's always been like the powerhouse of the juniors. And in the last Railroad last year, he made it to the second round and he faced Suji, and that match was just so good. So yeah, when it comes to big guys, he knows how to wrestle them.
Yeah, true.
But this is exciting. I'm surprised with like Kuma Arashi, Joel Redmond, Suwama in the tournament. Yes. It's going to be good. Railroad is a single elimination, like you said before, so it's not going to be some round robin stuff. But it's always exciting. Maybe Yuma will finally get to the second round.
Also, I believe people will be happier this year compared to last year when Kojima won. I don't think a lot of people wanted Kojima to win.
No. That was Honda's tournament. It was He defeated Suwama, Kento, and Yuma in a row. And then he lost to Kojima.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, last year no one was happy at that scenario. So I think this year we will be at least we will be happier. Whoever is going to win.
Okay, now to match of the month and wrestler of the month. So starting off with match. What match did you pick actually?
I went the very easy route with Anzai Honda. I loved it.
100% same. Dan and Hikaru was my second, but Honda and Anzai just blew everything else out of the water.
I agree. It was a very tough contender. It was a great match again.
And then wrestler of the month. Who'd you pick?
It has to be Anzai, right?
No, not for me.
Yeah, right. He's incredible. He's breaking all the records. What are you going to pick? I'm very curious
right now. I picked Honda.
Right, that's very interesting.
I thought Honda was a star. He went from dancing to teaming with a deathmatch legend to having a match of the contender for All Japan against Anzai.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Honda was my second choice because I mean I adore Honda, so he's always the star in my heart. The star in my heart. But I think I went with Anzai because he's facing all the legends and he's putting them all down. So I mean, I went for what the promotion wants me to do. Wanted me to do. I've been duped by All Japan.
No, Anzai is always a strong pick for Wrestler of the Month. There's no doubt about that. Now I usually end it after that, but we have something special. This might be a bit late, but it's the Media Awards. I
Yes.
forgot it last month. I'm gonna blame it on being sick with the flu, so that's my excuse. But it's always fun to do awards.
Yes. Yes.
So we're gonna
They're
start
true.
off
They're true fun.
with the wrestlers. So heavyweight, I went with Anzai, no doubt.
Yes.
It's his year.
Me too. I agree.
Well,
I agree 100%.
I don't think he ran away with it, but I think he's just had such a great year.
Yeah. Also, they're trying to sell him as the absolute star of today and tomorrow. So, and I think it is a success from their part. So I'm down with whatever they're doing with Anzai. It is a success for them, and I'm very happy because he wrestles in a style I love. Because if you like All Japan, you're always going to love Anzai because he wrestles in a way that feels so true with the promotion, and he's doing so well in portraying himself as a champion, which is not something to be taken for granted. And in the ring, he seems ready to do whatever. He doesn't struggle a bit, which is incredible.
For junior heavyweight, I went with Rising Hayato, just like Anzai. He just had such a good year.
Yeah, it was torn between Hayato, which was the obvious choice, and Den, which was also a very strong contender. But Hayato is right now is probably the best character of Japan has produced in a while. He's insanely over. Everyone loves him, and even people who didn't like him before, since he started taking this route, I don't know what kind of character he is, this kind of rebel. Everyone seems to love him. Even people were highly critical of him. So it's very another success from All Japan, I believe.
For the tag team, I don't think there's really anyone else. It's the Sato brothers, Jun, Ray, and the late addition of Doi.
Yeah, I mean, the Saidos are, I don't know, they are on the run of their lives. And they've been around for 3 years and they get every match they have, they get better. They are very believable as champions. They are insanely charismatic. People love them a lot. And also now they have Mr. Saido Doi on their side. So that's a plus.
And Senior Sato.
And Senior Side, obviously. Yeah, my man.
For the Outsider Award, we should just really name it the Hikari Sato Award because he's basically an All Japan wrestler. But I didn't pick him. I picked Doi. Doi's just too good.
Doi is a beast. Doi is great. I never watched Dragon Gate a lot, but he was always my favorite guy. And I have a very soft spot for him. But to be true to my propaganda and to my agenda, I'm going to go with Seiko Tachibana. He had an insane match with Dan. I still think of that match. I love that match a lot.
True. Oh, okay. So matches, and this is heavyweight. I picked Anzai versus Kento from May 29th.
Yeah, that was my choice before the last Korakuen. I said before.
July, we can't pick that one.
It's not possible. Yeah, then I'm going with Kento versus Anzai. Yeah, of course. I forgot that it was before. It was the mid-year awards, right? Yeah, then I'm going with Kento versus Anzai, of course.
For junior heavyweight, I went way back to January, and I picked Dan Tamura versus Hikaru Sato from the second.
Oh, what a banger.
Mm.
Yeah, either that or Dan versus Seigo. I know it wasn't a junior title match, but basically there were two juniors going at it. So either of the two choices.
And then my tag team, I stay in January on the 14th, Jun and Rei versus Hokuto and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Because this is where I found out just how over the Sato brothers are. Like, I knew they were, but actually being there and hearing the crowd just cheer for Rei, I'm just like, wait, what's happening? And I realized, holy shit, like, these are the guys, these are the boys. Like, wow.
Yeah, they're over. Yeah, I agree. That match was incredible. I don't look too fondly back to Nakajima's time in All Japan, because he came with a lot of problems, which made watching All Japan a little bit of a struggle. Not on a quality perspective, of course, because he's a great wrestler, but all the stories, all the stuff on Twitter of coups and brainwashing and all that stuff. Yeah, it was tough. Staying on Twitter during that time was tough. It was very tough. But of course, the match was incredible. That showed how, on one hand, they showed how over the Saido are. And also they showed how they are able to adapt to whatever kind of opponents they have in front of them. And how they don't struggle with faster paces, despite being so big, Rei especially. It sucks that, if I remember correctly, the match served as a prelude for the Triple Crown Challenge for Rei, that injured himself doing a splash from the top rope, which is not very smart if you are that big. But the match would have been a banger too. But I'm happy he's having his title match back with Anzai. Is always going to be a great match. I'm 100% sure.
It was so good. And the thing I loved about it is there were these fans all decked out in Kento gear, but just for this match, they got dressed up as the Satos. They had the leather jacket, they had the stick-on beards, they had the sunglasses and everything.
Yes.
As soon as the match was done, they were back to Kento gear.
Yes. Back to the schedule.
For my shock moment, I do stay in January. I think maybe because I was there, like it just hit me more. But the runner-up was Anzai winning the Triple Crown and Doi joining the Satos. But my choice is from the first show and fans booing the president of All Japan.
Wow.
My jaw dropped when that happened.
Yeah, that was rough. Watching that was very rough. And it was very far watching from a computer. I can imagine what was watching it live. Yeah, it was very rough and unfortunate considering what Fukuda was going through in that moment. But yeah, that's a shocking moment, to be sure. Yeah, probably that. I didn't think about it, but that's probably more like it. I was going to go with Anzai winning the belt. Because this young guy winning the belt in that way, I mean, I knew he was going to win because the pinky promise, all that stuff. Also, Nakajima doing that thread the day before the match, it was basically saying goodbye to All Japan. So, I mean, but still, winning a belt that young it's an important thing. It's very big. It's a very big deal, and. I didn't like the way it went down with Nakajima not selling and going away and all that stuff, but I think it served the purpose in bringing us to what we're living right now, which is a very interesting and exciting time of new guys and young guys going strong. Another moment that I liked a lot, I don't know if it's shocking, but it was the Super New Era moment at the end of the show, of the March show, when all the new guys went inside the ring to celebrate. To pose together, we can say. That was very cool.
I think it was shocking because you didn't expect it. And the Satos have played heels, in quotation marks, for so long with Voodoo Murders. You think they're going to come out to beat down Anzai and challenge him. But no, they came to stand beside him and show they're the new era.
Yeah, that was very cool. That was very, very cool. And this is what I'm talking about when I said that this year seemed to last like 8 years instead of 8 months, because this happened 4 months ago, and in a couple of weeks, it seemed like it happened in 2021 to me. It was a long time. It was a very eventful year. Not always in a good sense, but it was a very eventful year.
And the last award, it's the most important award of all. It's the fashion
Yes.
award. I got a special shout out to Hokuto More and Ryu Inoue with their new gear. I absolutely love it, but it has to be Renegabe. There's no one else for me.
Yeah, with this new cool guy look. Yeah, that was cool, but I'm too partisan for the Saidos. When they came out with the caps with written Saido Brothers on it, you can beat that. They're so cool.
That was really cool as well. Yeah, I love seeing the photos online. That was great. I think with Ayabe, the look just gave him this new confidence, just why I love it so much. But yeah, Hokuto, Inoue, Ayabe, Sato's, they all look great.
Yes, it's true.
So now we're actually at the end of the episode. I want to thank you all so much for listening to Jumping Knee Pod. If you want to contact me, you can do so on Twitter at sisterjessiee and Raw Road 72.
If you want to contact me for whatever reason, I'm called Simone, formerly known as Compa on Twitter, at outsiderGW. I'm kind of a shit poster. I'm not that serious, actually.
No, your posts are great. I messaged you. I'm like, thank you for being like one of the few positive All Japan fans back at the start of the year, because there were so many negative.
Yeah, it was rough. That's very nice of you, but I consider myself kind of a shit poster mostly.
But if you like the Sato brothers, follow Simone. It's a great follow.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
But
and I'm always talking about the Saidos, excuse me. So if you want that, you're going to get it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and thank you all for listening once again. I have been your host, Jessica, and I'll see you next month for more All Japan.
This has been a Count Out Podcast.
Do you have interest in Joshi, specifically stardom, and you've asked yourself, where do I start? How do I learn? Well, good news for you. The Count Out Podcast Network has a podcast dedicated to the history of World Wonder Ring stars that can help you learn, watch, and enjoy. This is the Stardom Road Podcast, hosted by Trent Brewer and myself, Scott Evans. Every other week, we dive into the history of wrestling's biggest women's promotion today. We have you covered.
Stardom Road is the perfect podcast for new fans looking to learn all about the deep history of the wrestlers, events, and championships they're seeing for the very first time, or for those who have been there from the very beginning, simply looking to remember the good old days. So join us for multi-episode deep dives into the history of key figureheads like Arisa Hoshiki, and smaller discussions on key role players like Chris Wolf. Find out about the lineage of championships like the High Speed Belt, or how the various tournaments have changed over the years. And of course, spend time with us discussing important topics like how to costume change battle royals with the very peak of the company.
You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us on the Stardom Road.